The quiet moment in life that most people avoid is the moment when you realize that the direction of your life may not be determined by luck, circumstances, or other people, but by something much closer to you, your choices. At first, this idea feels empowering. It suggests that your future is not entirely fixed, that your decisions matter. But if you sit with this realization long enough, it becomes something deeper and more uncomfortable. Because if your choices truly shape your life, then you cannot always blame the world for where you are. And that is where responsibility enters the picture. Responsibility is one of the most misunderstood ideas in philosophy and psychology. Many people associate it with pressure, obligation, or burden. It feels like something heavy, something imposed from the outside. But the deeper philosophical view of responsibility is very different. Responsibility is not simply about duty, it is about authorship. It is about recognizing that your life is not just something that happens to you. It is something you are constantly writing through your actions. Before we explore this idea further, take a moment to pause and reflect. If you enjoy exploring deeper questions about psychology, awareness, and personal growth, consider subscribing to NousForge. And if this video sparks reflection for you, sharing it might help someone else begin examining the direction of their own life. Now let's return to the idea of responsibility. Human beings often search for explanations outside themselves. When things go wrong, the mind naturally looks for causes in the environment. Bad luck, unfair systems, difficult people. And sometimes those explanations are valid. Life can be unpredictable and complex. But there is another layer beneath these explanations, a layer that philosophy has been exploring for centuries. It is the question of how you respond to the circumstances you face. Two people can encounter the same challenge and experience completely different outcomes. One becomes bitter, discouraged, and passive. The other becomes reflective, determined, and proactive. The difference between them is not always their environment, it is the relationship they have with responsibility. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre once explored a radical idea about human freedom. He argued that whether we realize it or not, we are constantly choosing not only our actions, but the meaning we assign to our experiences. Even refusing to choose is itself a choice. This idea can feel unsettling because it removes a common psychological refuge, the belief that we are powerless. But it also reveals something powerful. Responsibility is not simply about controlling everything in your life. No one can control every event that occurs. Responsibility is about owning your responses. When something difficult happens, the mind often reacts automatically. Blame appears, frustration appears, excuses appear. But awareness creates a different possibility. Instead of reacting immediately, you begin observing your own thoughts. What story is my mind telling about this situation? Am I assuming I have no influence here? What small action could I take that moves things forward? These questions shift your mindset from passive reaction to active participation. And participation is where responsibility becomes transformative. Psychologically, responsibility creates a sense of agency. Agency is the feeling that your actions matter, that your behavior can influence outcomes. Without agency, people often feel stuck. Life begins to feel like a series of events happening beyond their control. But when you take responsibility, even for small aspects of your life, you begin reclaiming that sense of influence. You begin noticing that your habits shape your days, your attitudes shape your relationships, Your attention shapes what you experience most deeply. This realization can feel overwhelming at first. It means acknowledging that many aspects of your life are connected to patterns you have repeated over time. But within that realization lies an extraordinary opportunity. If your patterns created your present circumstances, then new patterns can create a different future. Responsibility in this sense is not punishment, it is possibility. Consider a simple example. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the belief that you are responsible for the direction of your life, not in a harsh or self-critical way, but in a thoughtful and curious way. You begin asking different questions. How can I use today well? What habits are helping me and which ones are quietly limiting me? What conversations need honesty? What goals deserve my attention? These questions shift your focus from external blame to internal clarity. And clarity often leads to action. If this reflection is resonating with you, take a moment to like the video. It helps thoughtful discussions like this reach others who may be searching for a deeper understanding of their own choices. Now let's explore another aspect of responsibility that is often overlooked. Responsibility requires courage, not dramatic heroism, but quiet courage. The courage to admit mistakes, the courage to question your assumptions, the courage to confront parts of yourself that are easier to ignore. Psychologist Carl Rogers once suggested that genuine personal growth begins when people are willing to see themselves clearly, without distortion or denial. This is not always comfortable. Self-awareness can reveal habits you wish you had changed sooner, opportunities you overlooked, reactions you wish had been different. But avoiding that awareness does not eliminate the patterns. It only allows them to continue unconsciously. Responsibility, on the other hand, invites you to examine those patterns with curiosity instead of judgment. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" you begin asking, "What can I learn from this?" This shift from self-blame to self-understanding is incredibly important because responsibility is not about punishing yourself for the past. It is about becoming conscious enough to shape the future. One simple practice that can help cultivate responsibility is observation. Throughout the day, notice your reactions to events. When something frustrates you, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I reacting automatically or am I choosing how to respond? When you feel tempted to postpone something important, ask, what would the responsible version of myself do right now? These questions gradually strengthen your awareness, and awareness transforms responsibility from a heavy concept into a practical tool. You begin seeing each moment as an opportunity to choose your response deliberately. As we approach the end of this reflection, consider one final idea. Responsibility is not about becoming perfect. No one lives without mistakes, uncertainty, or setbacks. Responsibility is about remaining engaged with your life. It is about refusing to drift passively through circumstances. It is about recognizing that even when the world feels chaotic, your choices still matter. Your effort matters. Your attention matters. If this perspective helped you see responsibility in a new light, consider sharing this video with someone who might also be reflecting on the direction of their life. And if you want more conversations about psychology, awareness, and personal growth, subscribe to NousForge, because the philosophy of responsibility ultimately leads to a simple but powerful realization. You may not control every event that happens in your life, but you always retain the ability to choose your response. And within that choice lies the quiet power to shape the person you are becoming, one decision at a time. Thanks for being here.